Okay, we have
this really funny thing.
So now we should probably say, like, the Bible isn't a funny thing, but there are some things.
It's funny.
That are funny.
It's funny.
It doesn't really make sense.
Moments.
Things that you wouldn't know.
Yeah, sometimes when I read the Bible, I'm like,
what is going on?
What's going on?
Anyways.
how did that actually happen?
I know. So, we found this story.
In Acts 20, what's going on?
Is it Paul preaching?
Yeah, Paul's preaching to a group of people in a room. It says it goes until midnight.
So literally from midnight, like morning to midnight?
I think he just was preaching for a really long time and went late at night is
Yes.
the point.
So
They
think
probably
about
started
going to
after
church
supper.
and they just stayed until...
Yeah, and they just keeps preaching and
Just a
preaching and
long
preaching
time.
and preaching. And then there's this young man named Eutychus, and he's sitting at a window, and it says he sank into a deep sleep as Paul was talking longer and longer. So it's
Right.
like Paul's going on,
He's
preaching
going on.
and preaching,
Yeah.
and this guy's just
Like,
Son, don't go to sleep while I'm talking. Hey, hey, hey. All right, you stay awake and you listen to me.
and then what happens?
he dies. Where he was on top
He's
of
at the
something.
window.
He's at the window, leaning, like, sitting at the window, right? And he fell, like, deep in sleep. That he fell out of the window.
From the third story.
From the third story and died.
And he died.
And he just died while Paul was preaching.
Yeah. Because Paul was so boring.
Yeah, that's what we got from
The
it. that
sermon
Paul
was so boring.
Where by dint of our application of these principles, we can
You know when you're sitting in church, is Pastor Les here?
Hopefully
You know when
not.
it gets like a little long, a little dry,
You're like-
and you're like, and it's hot, maybe it's a summer day, and you're kind of like, you're going, you're going,
That's gross!
going like this. Can you imagine now sitting at the window of a third-story building and falling to your death? Like, would you blame it on Would you blame it on the pastor at that point, being like, well, if you had been more excited?
Yeah, I wouldn't have died. Anyway.
So Paul gets down. The end of the story.
The end
Though,
of the
Paul's
story.
there. He goes down. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna perform this miracle." So he looks at him and he's like, "Don't worry, there's still life in him, and he's good."
He
Brings him back from the
brings
dead.
him
He says
back
it's
from
youthful.
the dead.
Isn't that amazing?
It's very
Good, cool
amazing.
end of that story.
Anyway, it's a very amazing story, but it's just very strange, kind of funny.
I can picture it. And the Lord said,
Done.
yeah. Can you imagine if you were the one walking down the street?
It just fell.
Yikes,
Oh,
that's
man.
intense.
Anyway.
I really feel good now.